Hello everyone and welcome to our weather update on Saturday the 9th of August 2025. So, it's Saturday and today is quite a bright day in many areas of the country. However, the one exception to that rule will be this cold front that is now sinking slowly southeastwards over the country. Along the cold front is quite a narrow band of cloud and rain, possibly heavy at times as it pushes through, but really that should last no more than half an hour before bright spells do push in behind the front from the north. And by evening, all areas will be dry and bright and quite pleasant. If we zoom out, we can see that to our southwest, this is ex-tropical storm Dexter. Earlier in the week, it was quite a potent system just east of the east coast of the USA, and it has now been modified by the cooler temperatures of the North Atlantic Ocean. However, despite not bringing us some properly wet windy weather, it will ridge in the Azores high ahead of it, leading to a drier and warmer spell through Monday and Tuesday especially. And beyond that, as ever, we get more uncertainty regarding the nature of lows as they try and push in from the west against the heat to the east. And some models to actually go very wet and windy, possibly with a lot of showers and thunderstorms by the end of the week, while others they actually just renew the warm spell. So let's get into the detail without any further ado. So here is the high-res precip and cloud forecast from UKV 3 said this morning. So you can see this morning we're seeing this band of clouds and a narrow band of rain pushing southeastwards. Turning to showers, might engage with some sunshine and convection in the south through the early afternoon, but really that will be short-lived and it will clear the south coast by about 4 or 5 p.m. So by evening, all areas are dry with some cloud and sunshine, but overall, decent evening to be out and about. Now, overnight, we'll be seeing high cloud increasing from the south. That will bring some drizzle to West Kerry by morning, and by that point, cloud in Munster will be lowering, but elsewhere, I think Sunday starts off with quite a nice sunrise with hazy sunshine to greet us into the day. Now, Sunday itself, eastern areas are probably seeing quite a bit of sunshine, although hazy and milky, while in the west, the cloud base is lower and it's also thicker as well, and we see some dribs and drabs of light rain skirting the west and north of the country there. Possibly heavier for a time in the evening, as the warm and humid air mass does move in. That will be a warm front, by the way, and that will be opening the door to the warm sector that Dexter is bringing with it. But the key factor is that the cold front will take a while to make an appearance. So therefore, Monday and Tuesday at least look like very decent days to be out and about. So going forward into Sunday night and Monday morning, quite humid, muggy, low clouds around the country with some areas of rain in the north. A few heavy pulses at times, but these should be quite scattered in nature. Now, Monday morning, in many areas, it starts off quite cloudy, but sunshine does break through readily, especially in the south. And by Monday afternoon, all areas really are basking in some glorious sunshine, and temperatures will rise in the sunshine as well. They will nicely respond. Into Monday night and Tuesday morning, yesterday I mentioned this area of instability coming up, and it might be the trigger for a few showers and thunderstorms pushing up from the south there on Monday night and Tuesday morning. Details of this are very uncertain, but I personally wouldn't be surprised if we saw actually some quite decent storms on this area here, given what it's showing now, even, especially as it pushes up towards the north of the country. Into Tuesday itself, that area of showers and possibly thunderstorms, it does clear away to the north towards Scotland and Ireland, Wales and England. See a return to hot sunshine on Tuesday. Into Wednesday, Again, I think on Wednesday we're starting to see a slightly more westerly influence. You can see the clouds are starting to move in from the west more than the south, so therefore a bit cooler, a bit cloudier, but still not too bad. And as we go forward into Thursday, I think this wall of clouds could be the sign of a weather front pushing in from the west. And if that skies are still clear. Here is the temperature forecast that corresponds with the rainfall chart I showed you just now. So into today. Today's again average day, highs of 15 to 21 degrees, and as you know, I will be cherishing the cool breeze in my face before I go to the oven, aka England. Into into tonight, lowest temperatures of 9 to 13 degrees. Yeah, so probably my last night of sleep for a while, I think, tonight. And tomorrow morning, temperatures do rise a bit on today as that warmer and more humid MS does push in, so highs of like say 18 to 21 degrees, warmest in the South Midlands as that warm front does push northwards. You can see the UK getting up towards like 26, possibly towards the southeast, but I'll be more like 25 through the Midland counties there. And into Sunday night, you can see very muggy for all areas, so lows about say 15 in the south up to 17 in like North Leinster and Ulster, so getting muggy. And Monday, highest temperatures in Ireland of say 21 to 25 degrees. It wouldn't surprise me to see a localised 26 degrees in there, somewhere through say North Munster, parts of central Leinster and South Ulster. You can see many areas of the UK, like say southwest England, in towards central southern England, in towards Cambridgeshire, possibly towards Gloucester and Bristol. Areas like that could be seeing 30 degrees on Monday, and through to Tuesday morning, lowest temperatures, like 15 to 17 Celsius. That's really muggy, and don't forget 20 Celsius. I think I'll die. And Tuesday afternoon, look at that. Ireland, say 20 degrees in Ulster, up to 26 degrees in Midlands there, and this has been made more severe. It's been severified. Is that a word? Severified. In comparison to last night's run, even many areas of the Midlands are now looking at 34, 35 degrees quite widely. Yesterday it was more 33, 34, but now it's gone up by a degree. Wow, that looks like that looks like it'd be interesting. At least I'll have something to write home about, I guess. But very hot spell. And through into Wednesday morning, lowest temperatures, Ireland 14 to 17 Celsius, and in the UK, 20. Wednesday itself, we start to see the cooler air mass encroaching from the west, so therefore highs on Wednesday not as high as those on Tuesday and Monday, instead more 18 to 22 degrees, and you can see that the temperatures are taking more they're taking on more of a standard sort of regime there, where you've got the warmest temperatures in the east and south. The west always a bit more exposed due to that westerly wind. Same for the UK. Hottest temperatures being pushed away towards Norfolk, Suffolk, and like London, Essex area, and into Kent even. Into Thursday morning, again, freshening up in Ireland. You can see 10 degrees maybe possibly there in parts of East Connacht and South Ulster. And that fresh air is starting to infiltrate westwards by that point. Also looking at the humidity levels, so you can see the warm front there is defined by this contrast in humidity there. Very warm and humid to the southwest, but a bit fresher north of it. Because Sunday morning that does go through the country. And yeah, in general, that warm and humid and muggy air mass will dominate. These lower colours there, these lower levels of humidity correspond just to basically higher temperatures. So obviously warmer air can hold more moisture. Therefore the relative humidity will be going down, but still that's a muggy air mass coming from the south. You can see the warm front where it is, like right there, south of it, very humid, north of it, bit humid, but quite fresh, really, in comparison. And through into Wednesday, you can see just how these colours ebb away from the west, meaning that the most oppressive air masses do clear away. Here is the NAO index observed and forecasted. So it has been a while now since I showed you this index, but this is the North Atlantic Oscillation, and it basically is an index that represents what is going on in the atmosphere. So a positive NAO, if the forecast is above this zero line, what happens is you have a positive NAO, and generally in the summertime it means that you have the Azores high being quite dominant in Western Europe, and the low pressure and the jet stream are to our north. Contrastingly, if it's a negative NAO, you tend to have in the summertime the Azores high displaced, and we tend to get cool and wet weather. So if we go through the summer so far, you can see that June started off with quite a neutral, and no, it didn't. It started off with quite. It actually did, yeah, and that corresponded with an interval of quite cool and wet weather. And as we go, as we went through June, we did see the Azores high get a bit more dominant, especially around mid-month, and that meant that the NAO did go more positive. We got a heat wave at that time, didn't we? Towards the end of June, got more negative. We did see many parts of Europe seeing a heat wave, but Ireland remains quite cloudy. And July started off with that very positive NAO. And that is because, you remember, you got a heat wave around this area here, but still through the first part of July, Azores high was quite dominant, very strong, and that did culminate in the heat wave before towards mid-July and beyond that, it went negative. That corresponded with the wettest spell of the summer so far. Remember, on Monday, July 21st, the east of the country saw copious rainfall. That's around this point here. So that corresponded with a lot of low pressure systems coming through. And through early August, it's gone more positive. That has corresponded with the Azores high being a bit more ridgy compared to late July. It started getting a bit positive there. It was quite warm around here. So Flores, quite interestingly, actually took place during a phase of the positive NAO. And really, the Azores high was, I must say, quite close to us. And that did help create a contrast in pressure between us and Flores. Now, Flores was a deep low, but the Azores high being closer to us would therefore have a bigger influence on the strengthening of wind speeds, especially. So while France was enjoying some really nice weather, we were actually being battered, put it that way. And through the forecasters, NAO for the ensembles is for a hovering around +1 to positive through to mid-August, then going possibly more neutral to negative beyond that. And what that would, try and show us would be that it stays quite warm from now through to mid-August, but possibly the atmosphere, the pattern will change beyond that. So generally, I must say that this is more relevant through the winter months, but there is still some decent correlation through the summer as well, although not as obvious and not as directly, So here is the GFS midnight run from this morning. So going through, we can see if it will work. Why is it not working for me? Oh dear, it's not working. Okay, it's fine now. Just had to refresh the page and get rid of this. Okay, cool. We're off and run. I think it. Do you know? I think it won't let me use it now without having the ads. Is that what the deal is? Oh, it's fine. Okay, so you can see that there's Dexter right there, currently above the Azores. We have this ridge of high pressure ahead of it, and that will be coming up northwards, through into today and tomorrow. A warm front will, as you know, pass through the north tomorrow, bringing some rain. But really, that is a blessing in disguise, as that will be opening the door to warm, southeasterly winds through Monday and Tuesday. Thundery low possibly through Tuesday into Wednesday, but still details of thunderstorms are very, very unclear. A lot of the charts show scattered storms, but they're all very very inconclusive. No agreement whatsoever. Quite hard to forecast really. And through into mid-August, you'd think that's thundery, wouldn't you? And I think so too, but I'm really not going to look into that too much at this point because they can't even get the storms for Tuesday correct at this stage. And going beyond that, we just go very unsettled, really, with a deep low to over us into the east, bringing a lot of rain, a bit cooler as well. What happens going into the final third of the month? Well, the Azores High has a go again at ridging in, but for a while we stay on the cooler side of it, bringing in a more northerly flow. But soon enough, we go into a more traditional westerly by Monday, August 25th. Right, moving on to the ECM. ECM showing there's ridging coming up from the south through tomorrow and Monday. We waft up these very warm to hot southerly southeasterly winds. These troughs of low pressure become mixed in the flow. Whether or not they'll bring storms is currently very inconclusive. I will leave it at that. But the ECM beyond that, the trough fills, and in the end, we're back to high pressure by Saturday the 16th, and warm temperatures as well, so that's back to summer. So the ECM renews the warm spell. The GFS just sort of like decides that it's done by like Wednesday, Thursday time. And we end up on Thursday, 21st, warm and dry. But the high pressure is being challenged. There's strain on it from these low pressure. There is some strain being applied to it due to these low pressures towards Iceland and Greenland. So that would be one to watch if this comes off and if I'm alive on this date. Because, you know, furnace. Going through into the UK Met Office run, you can see what's happening here. High pressure ridges in ahead of Dexter, and that does stall and die a death to our west, but that just turns into a thundery low, which could be sparking off some storms. Details are very uncertain at this stage, and going into mid-month, you can see that the low, that another low actually comes out of Greenland, and it's also to the west against the high pressure to the east and the heat. And that would help to renew the warm spell and hot spell. So by next Friday, Saturday, get that high pressure is back to the north, bringing in a very warm to hot southeasterly airflow. Possibly storms in the mix there, but I'm not going there just yet. Here's the GEM. GEM is like this. So going into warm and dry spell through Monday and Tuesday. Trough comes through Tuesday, Wednesday. So really storms are possible at any stage from Monday evening onwards, but currently they look very scattered and, you know, currently impossible to really pinpoint exactly what will happen. Through into mid-month, well, the GEM just drops the low end from Iceland, and that's it. Goodbye, rest in peace, and we go wet and breezy for the foreseeable. Icon. So, do it all over again. Very warm to hot through Monday and Tuesday, before a trough gets mixed into the flow, and by next Thursday, Friday, well, we're looking quite warm, but probably wet at the same time, and they can't really see us going back to summer weather beyond Saturday, because it looks quite westerly, and the Azores High is pretty displaced. What is this feature here? Very odd feature. Just a little low within a high pressure system. Very odd indeed. It could be a tropical system, actually, given that it has some very warm air within it. It's a very interesting system here. Probably won't verify. Here is the arpege run. So once again, look at this. Azores High ridges in ahead of Dexter. Azores High has been our giver of heat waves this summer so far, and it's like it will keep being the case with the plus 15 Celsius isotherm flirting with the south coast, and the plus 20 Celsius isotherm possibly getting into southern and southeastern areas of the UK. And we end up next Wednesday looking a bit thundery. Having said that, there's nothing to really suggest that they'll come off. about that chart. There's an area of rain to our south, but that looks very unconvincing. Here are the GFS ensembles for Dublin for the upper temperatures. You can see we're currently a bit below average, but that is now just a one-day wonder, and from tomorrow onwards is an uptick in temperatures. So we're peaking in temperatures around Tuesday 12th and Wednesday 13th of August, before they do slide away a bit, but they still remain. They do stay above average through the rest of August, it seems. Possibly a slight cooling trend towards the very end of the run. But it does mean that this area here, around Thursday 14th, is likely to involve low pressure and the change in air mass and the cold fronts. Whether or not we see like intense storms on that, probably not, but might happen. Either way, bit more unsettled around Thursday, before possibly with more ensembles going hotter around, say, the 16th to the 22nd of August, 23rd. That might indicate the Azores High recovering and coming back into us to bring another renewed spell of warm weather. Let's look at this in combination also with the precipitation forecasting and see that currently be quite dry. It'll stay quite dry through into mid-August, but a bit more showery from about Wednesday, Thursday onwards here. And that does hint at maybe a breakdown, but currently is unlikely that we see some big thunderstorms. And it just is a bit showery, really, through the rest of August. So maybe high pressure could come back, but also some ensembles do go quite cool. And I'm assuming that those ensembles correspond with the spikes down here, and it's much less likely that the ones up here would have much precipitation at all. So that's it for today's update. Later on, we're doing the ECM long range and the CFS. Normally CFS is for a Sunday, but tomorrow's Sunday, and I will not be here. I'll be here at 6 a.m. to leave the house and go to the airport. That's it. Flight's at 10:30. So I'll be seeing you later on. Bye for now.